This Polyphemus is just horrifying. This is much scarier than a traditional Cyclops, in my opinion.
You ready?
Hi everyone, welcome back. My name is Peter Barber. I'm a professional singer and music producer, and today we are back at the start of the second saga, the Cyclops Saga of Act 1 of Epic the Musical. And it's about to get crazy. Man, I just got through the first act. I'm doing this all in one take. Now, I have learned a few things. After doing the first saga, excuse me. Few things I've learned. So, gods can create sounds out of nothing, essentially. So, when the gods are involved, there are more electronic elements in the background, as opposed to when the human characters are singing or performing. You know, it's more traditional instruments. There are a lot of leitmotifs. This is a coin termed by Wagner back in the day, where there will be themes and certain instruments used based on characters. So like Athena, for Athena, the piano is there to, you know, kind of demonstrate dexterity and skill. For Odysseus, it's I think the nylon stringed guitar predominantly, many things like that. There's a lot of depth to this show. I was just doing a little bit of background research on it. Nothing about the plot or anything like that, but just a little background research as to how Jorge, otherwise known as Jay, composed this piece and kind of how it started and his kind of thinking about these gods and myths and all this stuff. So I'll be taking everything I've learned from the first saga, the Troy Saga, and applying it to this saga. Guys, early access to all my Epic the Musical releases will be available on my Patreon before the public gets the release. So basically, whenever I get them edited, recorded, edited, and I can upload them, you guys will have early access to that, and you get that starting at the $5 a month tier. That's the Artist Circle. That's a great way to support me on my journey. Thank you guys for being with me up to this point. Currently sitting at almost 178,000 subscribers. Let's keep this going, guys. It's a pleasure and a joy for me to be with you and to be here doing musical analysis. So let's get in. This is song number 1 of the Cyclops Saga, and this is Polyphemus, who is the giant Cyclops, I believe. Let's see what happens. Oh, and yes, shout out to Mercy for this animatic.
Over here.
Look at all this food. Look at all these sheep. I can't believe this cave has all this for us to keep.
I've gotta hand it to you both. This is quite the treat. There are enough sheep here to feed the entire fleet.
Awesome. So I love this first impact we get. This we get from Odysseus actually shooting the arrow into the sheep. Right, they're exploring this cave. They don't know what danger awaits them. I already hear this guitar instrument that is indicative of Odysseus being a part of the scene happening. Right, that's that leitmotif idea I was just talking about a minute ago. We still get that choir. This is a treble choir way in the background, along with this kind of rhythmic driving guitar motif. And they're in a bit of an exploration mode, so there's a little bit of that. It's not like pounding drive, like we're not getting any big like war drums, but we are getting that kind of forward motion from that guitar pattern.
Over here.
Look at all this food. Look at all these sheep. I can't believe this cave has all this for us to keep.
So ominous too.
I gotta hand it to you both. This is quite the treat. There are enough sheep here to feed the entire fleet.
It's
So A flat minor, 7 flats in that key. I think it's the same as Misty Mountains. I think it's A flat minor with 7 flats in that key signature. I'm sure Mason will throw up a graphic to show you how how crazy that looks.
Sheep here to feed the entire fleet.
It's almost too perfect, too good to be true. Why would the lotus eaters pass up on all this food?
Yikes! I see they still have they brought a little lotus creature with them, at least in Mercy's animatic. I love that. You get this cool string going from the right ear to the left ear, getting that full stereoscopic image. Doo, doo. This is just leading into this next section. We also get some relatively high belting. I think Jay went up to that flat 7 of that minor A flat scale. So that's up to G flat in A flat minor. That'd be a G flat. So relatively high belting. A lot of E flats there. Nothing crazy, but we are getting up into that stretched part of the vocal range there. The higher part of that chest range for both of our singers who start out on this song.
Perfect, too good to be true.
That's that G flat.
Why would the lotus eaters pass up on all this food? Hey there.
Wow, he's a big dude
just travelers.
in this animatic.
We come in peace.
You killed my sheep.
I wonder how they're doing this voice. I mean, it's obviously modulated, right? Wow, I got to hear that again because this guy. I love how there's actually a number of. Let's see. I think 2 mainly so far. 2 or 3 maybe. I know for sure in Open Arms, that's all good. We're doing the tropical house thing, right? It's all good, and then when the Lotus Eaters pop out, it gets really dark, and like these kind of 808 like kicks come out.
Greet the world with open arms. Greet the world with open arms. Stay back.
The synths get super dark and ominous. A very similar thing happens here, where they're like, "Hey, look at all this food. This is great," and then it's like, "Oh, this is really bad."
Eaters pass up on all this food.
So we're still in A flat minor, and we're just droning that really low A flat with the subwoofer. It's actually going doo 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 doo. So B natural, A flat. You can hear the fire sound effects.
Hey there.
Within the cave. There were cave sounds right at the very start, but now we're getting a fire. Like there's a fire lit somewhere. Maybe they had started cooking the sheep, or they've got torches, right? So we're hearing the fire crackle.
Hey there. We're just travelers. We come in peace.
You killed my sheep. My favorite sheep. What gives you the right to deal the pain so deep? Don't you know that pain you sow is pain you reap?
Don't you know that? So they've got, I think it might be Jay's voice, but obviously modulated a full octave down and with other editing involved as well. I am absolutely obsessed with the instrument choice for Polyphemus. I think it's either a cello playing super low or a double bass. Absolutely, just like big, dark, ominous. But something about, if you're playing on a proper bass instrument like that, it's still a crisp sound, even though it's super low in the frequency range. Polyphemus cares about his sheep too. He's like, my sheep. My sheep.
You killed my sheep.
You killed my sheep.
My favorite sheep.
My favorite sheep. So it's like very dark Like the timbre's very dark. I don't think, unless they might have like an undertone happening as well, like an octavizer, because one pitch is doing what I was just doing. You killed my sheep. But it sounds like there's something lower happening too.
What gives you the right to deal the pain so deep?
Yeah, there's either an octavizer or it's just intentionally kind of robotic sounding, kind of giving it the impression of an undertone. It's a very interesting sound design here on this voice.
Don't you know that pain you sow is pain you reap?
I think there is an octave. Don't you know that? I think there's an octave happening below the don't you know that. Very similar actually to kind of how subharmonics work. With subharmonics, you sing the pitch in pure chest voice, and then you create the subharmonic. Very cool.
Don't you know that pain you sow is pain you reap?
He crying.
Time to drink your blood over where you stand. Your life now is in my hand. Before I'm done, you will learn that it's not so fun to take.
Listen to these drums in the background. They're very subtle. It's just like pulsing bass, but they are low kick drums. With the subwoofers happening. We also have a lower, in the beginning we had very obviously a soprano, mezzo, alto choir, right? Very much a treble choir. In this one we've got some lower voices. Again, fitting. You'd expect Polyphemus's, choir that he can summon, as we also talked about in the intro, to be lower voices, right? It wouldn't make much sense if they were these high angelic voices. It makes more sense to be like dark and ominous. I kind of wish Jay had gone with like almost like a Mongolian throat singing style choir, like a choir with a number of like basso profundos or something, like a Russian octavist choir. Maybe work even one step better. But it's very different from the choir we heard in the background at the start of this piece, which is just wonderful contrast.
Your life now is in my hand. Before I'm done, you will learn that it's not so fun to take. You came to my home to steal, but now you'll become my meal. A trade you see, take from you like you took from me.
There's
Me. This Polyphemus is just horrifying. This is much scarier than a traditional Cyclops, in my opinion.
Trade you see, take from you like you took from me.
There's been a misunderstanding. We never came here to steal, but now that I see we've done some damage, maybe you and I can make a deal.
I like how we're getting these we're getting the low pulsing bass, but we're also getting the kind of warlike drums as Odysseus is here pleading with Polyphemus to, make a deal, bro. Don't eat me. Let's figure it out.
We never came here to steal, but now
I've said this a number of times. Jay loves that high A flat. He writes a lot of those high A flat belts for himself. So that must be like really his sweet spot when he gets way up into his high range.
misunderstanding. We never came here to steal, but now that I see we've done some damage, maybe you and I can make a deal. I'll give you our finest treasure, so long as we live.
Dude is huge.
You can keep the world's best tasting wine.
Wine?
Have a drink, one sip and you'll understand the power that's in your hands. A wine so fresh, you'd never want to eat human flesh again.
Odysseus, smart dude, notorious for his intelligence. What's that quote from Troy? Great, where Odysseus is trying to get Patroclus, Achilles' cousin, to come fight in the war, and he's using, he's being smooth with him, and Achilles is like, don't play your tricks on my cousin, use them on me or whatever. And Odysseus goes, you have your sword, I have my tricks, we play with the toys the gods give us. I really, really always loved that quote.
Have a drink, one sip and you'll understand the power that's in your hands. A wine so fresh, you'd
Something I really like about a lot of the lyrical writing that Jay has done is that you hear it once, and it's good writing, but it's also very intuitive in a way. Like, you kind of can hear where the rhyme's going next, especially if you have some idea about the story and like the context of what's happening. So like, you hear it once, I just backtracked, and already I'm like singing along to it, because it just like, you hear it once and you're like, you get it. You kind of like, all right, that's great. It's so great. Just a quick tangent. I'm working on the hardest piece of music I've ever had to learn or memorize or anything for the Aspen Music Festival this summer, where I'll be performing. It's a world premiere piece by a new composer named Matthew O'Coin, and it's the hardest. I mean, the music is so hard at moments that I can't even follow it while I'm looking at the sheet music. And I've been a professional musician for like a decade at this point. Very fluent in reading sheet music, sight reading hard sheet music. Fiendishly difficult, and I'm just like, it just doesn't have to be that hard to be great music. Complexity says nothing about how good the music is or how impactful the message is. And I love that, Jay will do writing like this. Now, it's not all simple, right? There's plenty of complicated things happening, especially in the music production side. But there are moments where it's just very easy to follow, and it is no less impactful. I mean, my jaw's been on the floor half of this song, despite that. So, shout out to Jay for doing the perfect amount of complexity and simplicity when it makes the most sense to best tell the story, which is what it's all about, telling the story.
Then we shall be on our way. No bloodshed in here today. A trade you see, gift from you and a gift from me.
I like how he mimics the riff that Polyphemus did. Gift from me. Really nice. Nice echo there.
Gift from you and a gift from me.
I'd like to thank you. Stranger, what's your name?
My name is Nobody. Nobody. Nobody.
Nobody.
No. That must be B natural. Yep, high B natural in a very light head voice. Floating this, it sounds like trickery to me, right? He's floating a high. He's being mischievous with that light head voice there. I can't remember what happens in the story here. Probably good. This will be a surprise for me.
I'd like to thank you. Stranger, what's your name?
My name is Nobody. Nobody. Nobody.
Nobody. For your gift I've one to reply.
I'm so glad we see eye to eye.
You shall be the final man to die.
Now that is a very interesting vocal line here. So man to die. So even Jay had to sing that, but you can tell he doesn't really get down there. His voice really bottoms. Do 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 down to that G flat below the A flat there. That really sounds like the absolute bottom of Jay's vocal range. But okay, so that's just me assuming that he is voicing Polyphemus, because even with all the modulation, it still sounds like his voice. So I might be wrong, but it just sounds like the way that there's things about the text and the diction and this is hard to explain. You can almost I can almost hear I think I can almost hear the timbre without the modulation. And it sounds like Jay's voice that has been heavily modulated. Anyway, whoever the singer is for Polyphemus couldn't quite get down to that E flat, which you hear in this dissension here, which is really, and Polyphemus is singing an E flat 1. There it is. Underneath, there's that undertone happening.
For your gift I've one to reply.
I'm so glad.
That's about the bottom for that singer.
Eye to eye.
Yes, you shall be the final man to die.
That's really, it's just like all air. When this singer sings it, there's like no really tone there. It's more just like gravel.
The final man to die.
What? Watch out!
Yeah. Ah, the cliffhanger. The final man to die. Epic. Ah, I didn't mean to say that. This is probably my favorite one yet because I love the dark themes. I love the dark synths. I'm obsessed with the instrument choice for Polyphemus, that kind of leitmotif instrument, either the cello or double bass. And the story just very compelling. I just found myself very much on the edge of my seat, kind of seeing how Odysseus was going to handle this. And really wonderful animation from Mercy on this one. Brilliant. I think this is my favorite one yet, for real. So I'll see you guys in the next one. This is about 21 minutes in, so I'll probably do the second saga just like I did the first, making each video its own release. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you learned something. Consider joining my Patreon, both to support me and to get early access to future epic videos and all other kinds of benefits. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.